So this video was supposed to be a story telling motorcyclists about Springfield Armory. In full disclosure, Springfield paid for this whole gig. But instead, it turned out to be a hell of a lot more than we bargained for. An epic 1,000-mile journey that wasn't so much about guns and bikes as it was about people. People who come from different walks of life, but who share common ground. An intense love of motorcycles that comes through in just about everything they do. As we picked up the loaner bikes for our American Iron Tour, it also occurred to us that it isn't just the manufacturers who feel the passion for these products. It's also the thousands of folks who staff the dealerships that sell them. We want to give a big shout out to Victory and Indian dealer American Heritage Motorcycles, who opened their doors early so that we could make it to our next pickup point on time. A special thanks also goes to Chicago Harley-Davidson for their assistance as well. With our bikes fueled and packed, it was time to hit the road for our first leg, a 165-mile trip from Chicago to Springfield Armory in Geneseo, Illinois. The three classic American cruisers that would serve as our offices for the next 4 days included the Victory Gunner, the Harley Road King, and the Indian Springfield. We expected that the first leg would go smoothly. Too bad no one told us that half of Illinois' interstate system was under repair, and what was supposed to be a 2.5-hour hop quickly descended into 4.5 hours of road construction hell. If you've never done it, take our word for it that droning along at 45 miles per hour in 95-degree heat pretty much sucks. So we were glad to see the exit sign that led us into Geneseo, an idyllic little all-American town. It only made sense that our first stop would be to the Springfield Armory. Commissioned in 1777 by none other than George Washington and located in the town of Springfield, Massachusetts, it quickly became the epicenter of firearms manufacturing in America and a world leader in the industry. The original Springfield Armory was closed by the federal government in 1968, but the iconic brand name was resurrected in 1974 by Illinois businessman Robert Reese. At about the same time, Reese's son Denny was pursuing his dream of becoming a top-level off-road motorcycle racer. In fact, Denny Reese was so good that he qualified for the International 6-Day Trial, winning a gold medal in Sweden in 1978 and a silver medal in Germany in 1979. Denny Reese and his brother Tom eventually took the reins of the company from their father, and today Springfield Armory continues to prosper under Denny's guidance.
Since 1974, when I was 19 years old, fast forward 42 years, here I am almost 62. We have evolved from making and manufacturing M1A rifles, starting then till today. In 1982, we started making the M1 Grand rifle. We phased out of that for a while because of the surplus rifles coming into the country. In 1985, we manufactured and began marketing the 1911 pistols. And we've also added other products along the way. The XD family of products is something that we got into in 2001. And so it's just been an evolution of products over the 42 years, and we're continuing to look forward to adding more as they make sense for our business model.
And Springfield also has a custom shop that produces some of the most precision-built American-made firearms in the world. Relying on the talents of a small but highly skilled band of craftsmen, Springfield Custom specializes in limited edition world-class pistols. The custom shop is managed by Dave Williams, an award-winning pistol smith who is also a big motorcycle racing fan.
You know, at first glance of this pistol looks like any other 1911. It's a black gun, it's got some sights on it, it's a 1911. Well, that's about as far as the similarities go between this and a production gun. You know, a good analogy is to compare this to motorcycles, for example. A custom pro like this would be like a works bike would be in the motorcycle world to the standard production bike, like our production 1911s are. And a lot goes into these guns to differentiate them from a factory pistol, although they look the same.
Since it maintains such a high profile in the firearms industry, it's surprising to learn that Springfield Armory accomplishes so much with just 260 employees working in its Geneseo facility. The company headquarters includes a 160,000 square foot main plant with an additional 40,000 square feet off-site, and another 10,000 square foot building is currently in the works. Just as with its motorcycle producing colleagues, Springfield's main plant houses a number of state-of-the-art manual and CNC controlled machines to efficiently and effectively mass-produce components in a way that would make Henry Ford weep with joy. And yet there are still instances where traditional machining techniques trump modern technology. This ancient spindle mill performs one of the most important functions in the whole factory.
This is one of our older machines. This is in fact one of the original Springfield Armory spindle mills. This actually does one machining operation, which is very important. It puts the elevation serrations on the receiver of the rifle. If you look at the receiver now, there's no cuts.
Yeah.
See how it's smooth right there?
Right.
And then this cutter has got interrupted teeth that is timed through the transmission, and we'll show you how it does it. This is for an M1A receiver, yep. This is the rifle we produced when we started the business in 1974, and we're still building it today. You think it's a very simple machining operation, but it really performs a very important function in that when you adjust your elevation at 100 yards, you want one click to move the point of impact 1 inch. And that machine guarantees it happens.
If there is a common denominator between motorcyclists and firearms enthusiasts, well, maybe it's this.
It's the fun part that I think is what really gets us going in the beginning, and it's so fun to take people to the range every day, or when we do, and show people the fun that comes with shooting rifles and pistols, and for the first time you see the smiles on their face and they go, wow, this is way different than I imagined.
Wait a second. Did he just offer to take us to the range? Don't have to ask us twice. In addition to being able to sample almost the entire line of Springfield Armory products, we also got to spend more time with some of the great people we had met, including this character, Team Springfield's Rob Latham. Latham is damn good at his chosen profession. With more than 50, that's right, 50 national and world championship shooting titles to his name.
I recognize I went the wrong direction.
And he also has the type of personality that you might expect from a motorcycle racer. Latham likes to joke that his biggest claim to fame in road racing was being run off the track by former AMA Superbike champion Thomas Stevens in the early 1990s. But his credentials as a Team Springfield shooter and an ambassador to his sport are world class all the way. Our crew had a blast sampling just about every model that Springfield offers. But all good things must come to an end, and soon it was time to hit the road and head north along the beautiful Mississippi River route toward our next stop in Osceola, Wisconsin. When we finally left for the ride, Springfield's motorcycle-loving staff even offered to join us on their machines for a bit. What we thought was going to be just a short escort, now get out of town and don't come back, turned out to be a fun 50-mile cruise with our newfound friends. And they even offered to buy us lunch before saying goodbye. Good folks, those Springfield people. While heading 375 miles north along the mighty Mississippi toward Osceola, Wisconsin, some of us got to thinking about the strange relationship that Indian and Harley-Davidson have had over the years. They actually have a lot in common. Both companies were started by bicycle guys. Indian in 1901 and Harley in 1903. Both manufacturers gained prominence building V-twin powered motorcycles. And both engaged in a bitter rivalry on the racetrack and in dealer showrooms. This fierce competition began in one of the most fascinating eras in motorcycle racing history, the board track era of the early 1900s, when both Harley-Davidson and Indian produced incredibly fast and stunningly beautiful 8-valve V-twin racers. Unfortunately, after a series of technical and financial missteps, a cash-strapped Indian was forced to cease production in 1953. While several attempts were made to revive the brand over the years, some of them were dubious, some of them were marginal, and some of them were downright disastrous. Already enjoying success with its Victory brand of American cruisers, Polaris purchased the rights to the Indian brand from London-based Stelican Limited in 2011. Only 2 years later, the first of an entirely new generation of Polaris-engineered Chief models, powered by the 111 cubic inch Thunderstroke V-twin, was unveiled to the public. It was quickly followed by the liquid-cooled, dual overhead cam Indian Scout in 2015. Both models have been big hits with the media and the buying public, signaling the legitimate return of a once proud American brand. We thought it would be cool to get an inside glimpse of the place where the Hardy V twins of 2 out of America's 3 major motorcycle manufacturers are produced. And the hospitable folks at Polaris Osceola Power Plant in northwestern Wisconsin didn't disappoint. Plant Director Jesse Bartle guided us on a tour of the facility, which is set on 36 acres and boasts 2 plants totaling 327,000 square feet. With a facility that size, we were kind of surprised to find out that the Osceola assembly lines employed just 350 people. We thought that number would be higher, but Polaris efficient assembly techniques allow the Osceola employees to crank out anywhere from 500 to 1,500 engines per week on 5 assembly lines.
Power sports industry is it's a fast-moving industry, a lot of changes happening all the time. One of the advantages we have of manufacturing in the U.S. is being closer to our customers in North America, and then also our fast turnaround time to meet those changing customer demands.
While inside the Polaris plant, a couple of things stood out to us. First was the difference in assembly line arrangements for the different V-twin engines. The Victory engine is assembled on a tried-and-true conveyor belt system, where parts for the engine are fitted as it moves from station to station. The Indian uses a newer smart cart system, where all the parts and components follow the engine from station to station. Bartle told us that the smart cart system is more efficient because all of the parts and components stay with each engine, so there is no loss of time by having to wait for parts to arrive at a given station. It also makes for a cleaner workspace for the employees, as there are no boxes and cartons that need regular disposal. But here comes the choo-choo train again. We begged Polaris to let us ride on that thing, but they just wouldn't go for it. The other thing we noticed was the different protocols used for testing the Thunderstroke 111 versus the Freedom 106 engines. Unlike a traditional gasoline-fueled hot test, the cold test used by Indian is performed by hooking up the engine to an electric motor. The motor rotates the crankshaft while software records and analyzes predetermined data to ensure that each Thunderstroke 111 V-twin is within Polaris specifications. The advantage to the cold test is that it requires no gasoline and therefore no special ventilation. It's also cleaner as well as cheaper. Then again, if Victory used the cold test as well, we might never have gotten to meet this guy. We never did get his name, so we'll just call him Crosby. Old Crosby greeted us like a long-lost friend, and he just wouldn't stop talking the entire time we were in the testing room with him. But crazy or not, Old Crosby appeared to be very good at his job, and he also was very proud of the Victory brand, no matter what it said on his t-shirt.
Green to me means good engine. All right, that's telling me, Mark, the ups are a little high. That's going to clear itself out.
We began to wonder when the last time it was that this guy actually saw real daylight. And as we left, we also stopped to check and see if the door to the testing room locked on the inside or the outside.
It just verifies that it's black lighted, it's a good engine.
In 5 years, he told us, he had only seen one Victory engine fail during the hot test. But Crosby wasn't the only cool person we met at Polaris. Guys like Steve Marty and Phil Wallander have been with the company for years.
So I started in 99, so by that time this line, our assembly line we're looking at here, has already been in for a couple years already. Victory stayed on this line and we built everything on this, and the line right behind us is where Indian started. Heck, I was part of the first Indian when we purchased Indian back in, I think it was 11. I went down to the plant down in Kings Mountain and I built the first engine down there for Polaris.
Part of my job responsibilities was show up at work, gear up, full gear, we require all that, leathers and whatnot. In the month of, I think it was the end of March, beginning of April, and I put on 500 plus miles a day and evaluate performance, not only engine performance, but chassis performance. I work for the company, I run both lines, oversee them. Victory is still my true engine.
As Jesse Bartle walked us around the rest of the plant, we got the sense that he's really proud of his Polaris family. And he has good reason to be proud of his real family too.
And so I have a son that's graduated from West Point and a daughter that's currently there. So my son got married last summer, and his groomsmen from West Point decided to buy him an AR-15 as a wedding gift. And while my son was setting up targets to get ready for that, my daughter picked up the AR-15. She disassembled it within about a minute, put it back together right there in the kitchen. I looked at my wife and I said, I bet you never thought this 5'4" pretty girl that plays the piano and the violin could do what she just did.
As we said goodbye to Jesse and the folks at Polaris, he quickly summed up what most motorcyclists, heck, what most power sports enthusiasts feel whenever they strap on a helmet and go for a ride.
Yeah, the power sports industry, it's a lot of fun. It's a good family environment activity. Motorcycling's new for us. We love being on the road and seeing the road from a different experience. We believe that, motorcycles, you got to take a lot of responsibility around that, a lot of discipline in how you approach it. Is the bike prepared? Are you prepared? Are you in the right condition? Do you have the right equipment? And that's how we approach it, and it's just a lot of fun.
A light rain was falling the next morning as we headed toward Milwaukee after an overnight stay in Wisconsin Dells. The next stop, Harley-Davidson's Powertrain Operations Center located in Menomonee Falls. When we got there, the place was rather quiet, and there was a reason for that. With the plant undergoing major renovations inside, Harley-Davidson politely refused our request for a tour. Instead, they happily supplied us with factory footage that shows what the plant looks like inside. They also put us in touch with Randy Christensen, Harley-Davidson's General Manager of Powertrain Operations at Menomonee Falls. Christensen oversees the 912,000 square foot factory set on 63 acres. The factory runs around the clock, 3 shifts, employing over 1,000 people.
So I think, some of the advantages of manufacturing in America, Harley-Davidson started in Milwaukee, and there is long-standing pride, certainly a long history of craftsmanship. The knowledge of the workforce is really second to none that I've seen. Our workforce takes great pride in building powertrains, takes great pride in being American manufacturers, and we strive daily to continue to improve our operations and really be a great representation of what American manufacturing can represent, not just in the motorcycle industry, but in all industries. Some of the significant milestones from a manufacturing standpoint, 1996, this facility was purchased from Briggs & Stratton. Transitioned from the Evo motor to the twin cam in 1998. Mid-2000s, upgrade to the twin cam to enable larger displacements, the 6-speed transmission. 2010, all the powertrain manufacturing was consolidated into one roof. At that point in time, we took over the half that Briggs & Stratton had continued to operate since 1996. By 2012, we had doubled our production and realized just a whole ton of efficiency associated with that. In fact, we doubled production with even less staff than we had opened the facility with in 1996.
For Randy Christensen, motorcycling is more than just a job.
It's part of primary transportation. Pick the kids up from soccer on a motorcycle and explain to them that this is part of what we do and who we are as Christensens. So every one of my children either ride on the front or ride on the back if they're not old enough yet. One of the beautiful things about motorcycling is the fact that it's not just a fun sport, but it also really enables meeting people, and you meet people from all walks of life. Folks that may be a CEO, maybe a janitor, maybe a machine operator, and one of the beautiful things is the bond that the motorcycle brings through all walks of life, and the ability really to just swap stories and just be bikers together.
With our Harley factory tour cut short, we decided to head into downtown Milwaukee to visit the Harley-Davidson Museum, where the motor company's 113-year history is on display year-round. There's plenty to see, everything from race bikes to the oldest known Harley in existence to the various V-twin models, old and new, on which the company has built its legacy. Pretty soon, though, it was time to turn our handlebars toward Chicago and prepare for our long flight home to Los Angeles. Looking back on our whirlwind American tour, it's hard to pick a single highlight because there were so many. We traveled through some truly beautiful country on 3 fantastic American cruisers, and we met some very interesting folks who, despite obvious differences, seem to share an awful lot in common. And maybe that's what motorcycles do best. They take people to new and exciting places, but they also bring people together. So what fuels your passion? Is it motorcycles? Is it something else? Whatever it is, if you live it, if you breathe it, and if you love it, we feel you.